It's me, the Shinigami. Today I'm reviewing One Piece, Chapter 705. So today in this chapter, we got to see quite a few things. Didn't see Luffy. I was expecting Luffy this chapter. I was expecting a lot of Luffy this chapter. So not seeing him was very surprising for me. But we just start off with people in the Coliseum talking, we're back to Burgess. Or Burgess, whatever you want to call him. Different people pronounce it differently. We see him, just all masculine or whatever. And then we see that the Marines are sort of involved in all this in a way. They're in the crowd, and actually no, we did see Luffy. I think for like a frame maybe. I don't know. But Frankie's like, I'll just beat the crap out of one of, oh my god, I can't remember his name. I just read the chapter like 2 minutes ago. Doflamingo. He's like, I'll just go beat the crap out of one of Doflamingo's subordinates. And the toy's like, not here. Let's go somewhere else. So they go talking, and the Marines are talking and trying to figure out what all was going on. They're like, we didn't know Blackbeard's pirates are going to be here. So, yeah. Then we skip over to Zorro. And Zorro... Well, no. First off, we see Bartholomew, I think. I think his name's just Bartholomew. Because it's close to Bartholomew. No, Bartolomeu. That's what it is. And so, he is talking, and then apparently this Catman has come in and just gotten rid of him, even though his bounty is like 67 million belly Betty, whatever you want to call it. And so we're like, okay, he's pretty powerful for a guy who's pretty cheap. Or no. He's beat up by Catman. I'm lying. So we're like, oh, this Catman's somebody you don't want to mess with. So then we go to Zorro, who's still chasing the ferry, and he ends up falling off of a building and falling on the ground. And the next thing we know, this sack lands on his face. And he looks up, and the ferry's like, oh, I'm such a klutz. I gotta go before this human sees me. We don't see the ferry yet, so wait to see that in the next chapter, probably. And we go over to Kinemon, who is just out and about lost, and then these guys are talking to him. They're like, you must be Kinemon. And they just figured him out right away. It's like, we don't care, you're Kinemon. And they're threatening him if he wants to see one of his friends or other fellow samurai, not to do anything stupid or whatever. And then we go to... Or maybe this was beforehand, I don't know. I can't remember which came first, even though I just read it like 2 minutes ago. Then we go to Trafalgar, Nico Robin, Usopp, and Caesar. And they're all just talking, and Trafalgar looks pretty cool with his, like, French mustache. But they're all talking, blah, blah, and they're like... The guy says something about, oh, you're a journalist or something. They're talking about this iron bridge, so it looks like it'll be pretty interesting, these horned fish. And then next thing we see is Nico Robin's like, oh. And Usopp's like, what are you doing, Nico? And she's like, shh. And it turns out CP0 is there. And whenever I saw them, I was like, I mean, it's neat seeing that obviously the numbers were numbered to show the different strengths, like back in the Alabasta arc, they had Mr. 4, Mr. 7 or whatever. They just had the different numbers and stuff. So we see that it's CP0, and obviously they're the strongest. But I didn't like how they just threw CP0 out there. I don't know what they're going to do. They might just, well, let me just talk. whenever you put something like CP0 out there, you have high expectations of them. like in Bleach, whenever they showed the Royal Guard or Division Zero, you're expecting these people of badass proportions. Like, you expect people that, like, Kenpachi looks like a little teacup compared to them. But anyway, back to One Piece, like, CP9, they had some pretty badass people. And you see CP0, and I mean, it's these two guys in masks, or two, it could be two women, or a guy and a girl, or whatever. You see this other guy, and you're just thinking, I mean, it may be along the lines of looks can be deceiving, but still, I was kind of expecting more from something like that. So I wasn't too excited for that. I was just thinking, we should have been more, but it was this. Who knows? We'll see what happens, though. And they may not even interact with the straws. I mean, this may just be like a, we see them for the first time, and they don't finally interact with the Straw Hats until later. But, I mean, if they do interact with the Straw Hats, then you can't bring CP1 or CP2 in, because they've already beaten CP0. Anybody else isn't going to compare. So I'm just hoping that maybe it's just like a, oh, they came in because they heard Blackbeard was here, and the Straw Hats aren't going to interact with them, or something like the Straw Hats do interact with them, and they're just like, okay, you're done. Just knock you out. Just flick them in the face and it's like, fly 2 miles away. Just something like that. I don't want the Straw Hats to come in and then it'd be a close match. Because even if it's just a close match, then you're really taken away from any potential other stories with any of the other CP groups. Or you can, you could just beat them up and then make up another group that's even stronger, just so convenient. But still, anyway, back to the chapter. And then we go to the ship, and it's Nami, and I can never remember the little kid's name, Brooke and Chopper. And they're just talking, and little kids, lying on Nami's lap, and then Brooke comes in and tries to lie in her lap, and she hits him, and he flies away, or whatever. And Chopper tells Brooke to entertain the little kid. Can't remember his name. For God's sake, why can't I remember his name? And then they hear this noise, like a guy in the men's room or something in the men's room. We don't know what it is. And then we go back to the Coliseum, and we see this guy who's like writing down stuff, and he's like, "Oh, Bartholomew." He's like, "Did you hear about this guy named Cap something Cap something or something Cap?" He's like, "No." And it was a guy in the beginning that I was telling you about who we thought beat up Bartholomew, but apparently Bartholomew kicked his ass, and now he's in the pile. So it looks like he can somehow switch appearances or something. It's not certain yet, but it looks like he can switch appearances. I don't know. I think Eiichiro Oda is he's probably going to do something with the original. He borrowed the name Bartolomeu. Bartolomeu, the song, It's probably going to be something along the lines of that, or he's going to involve that in some way. I don't know. I'm just going to wait to see the next chapter and find out. Alright, time for the basic fact. Badassness for this chapter. Oh my god, wow, I skipped Sanji. Sanji went and kicked a guy off a tower at 8 meters, a sniper, and he's like, "Oh, I'm in love." So he's like, 8 meters isn't too much. But yeah, not much with him. Badassness for this chapter. 2. It was 2. Right. Attention level, I was pretty drawn into it. I enjoyed this chapter, so I'd have to give it about a 6.5. Satisfactory, again, like with the CP0, depending on which course they take. But for just seeing them in this chapter, I'd have to go with 5. Interest level, about a 7. I was pretty interested. Confusion meter, 1. Fan service, If you like the characters, 0. Animation was pretty good. I mean, it was pretty good for this chapter, so I'd have to give it about a 6. And predictability. Predictability would probably be about a 4. Sort of. I mean, I didn't predict everything, but you could sort of predict some things. So, yeah, that's it. Remember, links are in the description to Facebook and Twitter. Remember, like this video, subscribe, add to favorites, send this video to your friends, get your friends interested in us. Every little bit helps. And I'm the Shinigami. I will talk to you guys later. Jana.